Good. Oh my gosh. Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Oh my gosh. I think my voice might actually be worse today than it was yesterday from yelling on Sunday. So bear with me. If my voice is a little bit Peter Brady, it's because it's worse today than it was yesterday from yelling at the Detroit Pistons game. So crazy. All right. Well, happy St. Patrick's Day, Raptors freaks. It's Tuesday, and it's time for Tuesday trivia. We've got lots to talk about today, though. There is a G League game today at 5. The Raptors 905 have clinched the playoffs in the G League playoffs as of this morning, and they're playing for home court advantage. But they'll be playing Motor City Cruise, the G League team of the Detroit Pistons, at 5 p.m. at Paramount Fine Food Center. And we'll go over that game after the trivia. And also, we have a lot to react to from yesterday at Fan Day. Yeah, Fan Day was off the chain, apparently. It was crazy, man. There's a lot of funny stuff that happened at Fan Day at Scotiabank Arena yesterday. And man, I'm kind of jelly that I wasn't there. It was crazy. So, yeah, lots to talk about. Let's get right to it, Raptors fans. Let's go, Raptors, on another Raptors Freak Tuesday trivia. It is St. Patrick's Day. We're going to start up the trivia soon. I want to let a couple people come in. So maybe I will do the preview for the 905 game real fast right now, just to let people run in here real fast. First of all, Trevor J., words of wisdom. Thank you, Commissioner Fun. I know I put this up just recently. The fact that you're quick and on it to get in here and do this in this small window of time, I appreciate you for it, Trevor. It shows your dedication and it shows your reliability. And I appreciate you so much, Trevor J. I really, really do. I know that I can be cantankerous and ornery and goofy sometimes, but know that the pure love is always there for you, my friend Trevor. It always is, man. All right, let's see. This is what he's saying. The minutes you wake up, consider yourself blessed because God gives you his grace and mercy to see this day. Without him, you don't see this day. Yeah. Isn't that what you say in your prayers at night? That you wake up in the next morning? Yeah. Yeah. Some people say that in their regular prayers. It's like, and please, God, help me to wake up the next day so I live another day. It's true. God, in some ways, what is God? Is God a person, like a dude up in a cloud with a beard? What is God? Some people think God is polytheist. And so there's a lot of gods, in the Hindu religion, there's a lot of gods. Is it a singular person? Is it even a person? Is it an entity? Is it an idea? Is it a feeling? Is it an energy force? That's what I think God is. I think God in himself or herself or itself is the energy that is life in all of us and every living thing. That is how God is in all of us, is that life is God. And we can put him as an old man with white hair up in a cloud that throws thunderbolts or something like that. I don't know. That's what they showed me in cartoons when I was a kid. But in some ways, it's really like God is actually energy. God is energy force. And energy can feel right and wrong, right? You get those sixth sense, spidey sense kind of stuff when you go places. Sometimes like this place don't feel right. I don't need to be here. Oh, this place is heaven for me. This just feels awesome. You know, that's the energy in the area, and that tells you whether this is your right energy or not. I don't know. Maybe I'm just riffing on something crazy here. But thank you for the words of wisdom, Trevor J. And blessings to Jones family, all the Raptor Freak families. That's right. That's right. Trevor's brought up something very important. The race is so tight in the East right now. Orlando lost last night at Magic City game against the Atlanta Hawks. That's fantastic. The Hawks lost the Magic City theme night for the game last night, but they didn't lose the game against Magic. And in some ways, that's more important. That's right. And it's no Magic City, Orlando. No. No Magic City, James Harden. No Wings. No. Atlanta is going to win and win again and help the Raptors out in the standings and put the Orlando Magic tied with us in the standings right now. Now, according to the tiebreaker, they have the tiebreaker currently. because they scored more points than us in the 2 games we played. We are currently 1-1 with the Magic in our record with them for the season, but because they have more cumulative points in the game matches, they are ahead of us in the standings. Now, we do play them a 3rd time before the end of the season, and that game will solely decide who has the playoff seeding advantage at the end of the year. So the game in Orlando, I don't know if it's in Orlando. I think it's in Orlando. It's either in Orlando or here. Either way, that game against Orlando is going to be so important for playoff seeding that we need to beat the Orlando Magic when we play them. We definitely need to. Adriana is here. The commissioner of trivia is here. We have our commissioners. We have our commissioner of fun. We have our commissioner of trivia, Miss Adriana. Appreciate Adriana for the job she does. She's saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. Good morning to you, Adriana. And we see that our leading trivia competitor for the season so far, Miss MJ, is in the house. Good morning, fam. Good morning to you, MJ, with the cool dinosaur emoji. Thank you for that. I typed something and it disappeared. I no longer see it. It is there. It is there. I think I see it on my screen, so we're all right. So real quick, guys, I just want to go over the refs for the 9:05 game today. The crew chief for the game at 5 is Ken Jones, number 40. The referee is Josh Reed, number 28. And the umpire will be Claire Simmons, number 14. It's a G League crew. There's no weird like NBA guys down or anything like that. Now, the Motor City Crews, who are they? Real quick, I'll run over their roster real fast. Jaden Akins of Michigan State. Dawson Garson of Marquette. Isaac Jones, the guy who beat us in the finals of the Summer League last summer when he was on Sacramento Kings. He's on Detroit G League team now. But y'all can remember Isaac Jones because he was one of those guys that stopped us from winning the G League, the Summer League championship in Summer League last summer in Las Vegas. Bobby Klintman is a 2-way on this team. Chaz Lanier. I wonder if he's related to Bob Lanier, because Bob was a very important Piston, and it could be that they got a family member of his on the Motor City Cruise. Matthew Moncrief, Wendell Moore, Maki Mitchell, Quincy Olivari, Drew Peterson, formerly of the Celtics, Omar Stanley, Tulu Smith, he's another 2-way, Samir Torrance, John Uko-Madu, and Bryce Williams. That's the roster for the Motor City Cruise currently. We'll see how things stack up. Once again, I'll say it again. The Raptors 905 have clinched the playoffs for the G League as of this morning, and now plan the season out for seeding. So they will be in the G League playoffs no matter what as a point. And I want to congratulate Drew Jones and his coaching staff and the players for such a great accomplishment. I think Blake Murphy's saying that this is the sixth time the 905 have made the playoffs since playoffs in their history. This is the 6th time the 905 have made the G League playoffs, and it's the first time since 2022. That's Blake Murphy on Blue Skies saying that. Yeah. Let's see. Adriana said, "Don't forget, I'm out at 10 because of my other Zoom meeting." Yes, I know. Part of it is I've got to wait for more people to come in. If I start the trivia right away, nobody's going to answer because nobody's here. Ibrahim's here, man. Best time of the year to ramp up. The playoffs is real. Yeah, now we've got some trust in our team, and we've got some momentum. And now it's like Darko said, every game one at a time, especially on this West Coast road trip when we're going to face Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets and Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers again. And hopefully we can get a different result on their court when we come around and see them for the second time this season. So each game one at a time. And tomorrow it's the Bulls first, and we won't get ahead of ourselves because we got to figure out how to beat them first. All right, y'all, let's get into the trivia. If y'all don't know, if you haven't been here on this channel on Tuesdays when we have 2 days off, like a Monday and a Tuesday off like we did just now, I will play Tuesday trivia on Tuesdays. And that means I wrote up some trivia questions yesterday. You get 100 points for each correct answer, and it goes to your Raptor Freak trivia score. And there is a prize for winning it. It's a yearly prize, and we keep the track of the stats all year long. And right now, Fiercely Salsera is our leader with Slug Deezy following behind. Look at that. Stargate's in the house. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Good morning to you, Stargate. Ready to play some trivia? Let's go. I'll put on my trivia glasses, and I'll get the questions. All right, y'all. It is St. Patrick's Day today. So today's trivia is oriented towards St. Patrick's Day. So be ready. The first question I have is going to be one of the styles of questions. There's going to be two styles of questions today. So be ready to switch back and forth. The first style of question is, I'm going to be talking about Toronto Raptor players that were also Boston Celtics at some point in their career. And you have to guess the player. So I want the full name answer for each one of the questions. Every single answer today is going to be a player. So full name answers, just like the classic card. If you give me half a name, you're not going to get the points. So don't try and just put the last name in. Don't try and just put the first name in and be lazy. Don't do that. We're the Raptors. We go all out and we finish the job correctly. So full name answers only are accepted. You could write in the right last name, but you won't get it because you didn't put the first name in. So let's start right now. Question number 1 on Raptorsfreak Tuesday Trivia St. Patrick's Day edition. This Toronto Raptor / Boston Celtic, I used his last name yesterday on the show as a verb for crashing out on the bench, all tired and messed up. Which former Raptor, former Celtic am I talking about? Full name answer. I used his name as a verb for crashing out on the bench because you're exhausted and tired. Who do you guys think that is? And make sure you're live, y'all. Make sure you hit that red live button in your corner so that you can answer these questions on time, because it don't work if you're not live. You don't work if you're not live. So, yes, Stargate has got it. It is Chris Boucher, of course. Chris Boucher was that famous time when he played so hard and he ran over and got on the bench and he just laid out and crashed out. You know, Scotty kind of did that the other night. And that's why I said, oh, he's Boucher. He's Boucher. But yeah, Stargate's first on the board with the first question of the day. All right, the second type of question for today's trivia is going to be a little different. And it has to do with the jersey that you see in the cover photo for the stream today. You know, the Raptors had a period of time where they wore St. Patrick's Day specialty jerseys. They were green and they were weird, but they were St. Patrick's Day jerseys. And if you know that era of when that happened, you'll probably do better at this question than others. So here's the question. Which Raptor wore the number 4 in the green Raptors St. Patrick's Day specialty jerseys? Which Raptor wore the number 4 when we wore St. Patrick's Day specialty green jerseys way back? Let's see who's got there. You know, this is PhD level Raptors trivia. This ain't no fluff. This ain't easy shit. This is the tough stuff. So who would number 4 be in the St. Patrick's Day specialty jersey from that era? Yeah, you got to remember the era when we wore them. And then maybe who would wear number 4 around that era? And that would give it to you. You know, we'd have a number 4 right now. And, well, he's a badass. And he could be a defensive player of the year this year somehow, some way. We'll talk about that later. But, yeah, who would it be? Chauncey Billups? No, it's not Chauncey. Chauncey did not wear the St. Patrick's Day green 4 in a Raptors jersey. Who do you guys think it was? Think about famous 4s in the history of the Toronto Raptors franchise, and maybe you'll figure it out then. That's right. Who was a number 4 in the franchise of the Raptors history? Chauncey. Yeah, put a pin in that one. How about that? I'll just say that right there. Yeah. Number 4, St. Patrick's Day specialty jerseys. They looked weird. I hated when they wore them. They wore them for about 5 years, guys. Every round St. Patrick's Day, the Raptors would inexplicably wear Celtics green-looking jerseys. Jermaine O'Neal, that's a good guess. He was playing around that era, but he wasn't wearing number 4. There was somebody else that was very prominent who wore number 4. This is a very important person in the history of the Raptors franchise. He's a franchise leader in a lot of categories currently, right now, still. In fact, they had a trivia question at the game on Sunday about who was the franchise leader in blocks for the Raptors franchise all time. That's the answer to this question. So if you know who leads the Raptors currently all time with the most blocks in the history of the Raptors, you get the answer to this question. So yeah, it's not that hard, y'all. Let's not overthink this. And if you figured it out, you know, because these are going to get harder. Trust me, this is the easiest one. And I'll tell you right now, Stevie Roots got this question right away because he's like, oh, of course, it's this person. So who would be number 4 during the era when we wore the green St. Patrick's Day jerseys? Jalen Rose? No, he's a number 5. You know that. He wore number 5. Now, you guys got to know your numbers. Chris Bosh is the answer. Fierce, you got it. Chris Bosh is our all-time leader in blocks for our franchise, and he was the number 4 in the green St. Patrick's Day specialty jerseys that we wore. So that kind of gives you a time frame about when we're thinking, right? About when we're thinking. So, I'll give you the time frame of when they wore the green jerseys. They started wearing them in 2008 and they stopped wearing them in 2011. So around there is when you're thinking for these St. Patrick's Day, because you're going to get more questions just like the one I just gave you. Okay. That was the easiest one. Let's just put it that way. All right. Third question. This Toronto Raptors / Boston Celtic was the first ever Toronto Raptor to touch the ball in an NBA game. Now, if you were here yesterday and you saw the classic card, you'll know who this is. You'll know who this. Trevor, hit live. You'll know who this is because we talked about this yesterday for the classic card. Ed Pickney is right. Stargate is getting this one. Ed Pickney is the first person to ever touch a basketball in an NBA regular season game as a Toronto Raptor on the jump ball in the first game we ever played. And he did play for the Celtics before he played for the Raptors alongside Larry Bird and the rest of them. That's right. Ed Pickney. Wow, that's some impressive spelling there, but it's all good. All right, let's keep moving because Adriana does have a Zoom meeting at 10, and she cannot monitor the game after that. All right, let's see. You told me you'd be late, though. All right, here we go. Who wore the number 7 in the Raptors specialty St. Patrick's Day green jersey? Who wore the number 7 in the Raptors green jersey? Oh, this one over here. Who wore that number 7 right there? That's right. Ray. All right. You know what, James? You spelled it wild, but you came back and stuck around. Raptor-Freak James is getting it. It is Andrea Bagnani. Il Mago wore the number 7 in the green St. Patrick's Day jersey in the history of the Raptors. And Raptor-Freak James is on the board for this one. That's right. Not Kyle Lowry. It was Andrea Bagnani. You can be a little late. Thank you, Adriana. I appreciate that. All right, keep moving. Question number 5. This Toronto Raptor / Boston Celtic could be facing many years in prison. This Toronto Raptor / Boston Celtic could be facing many years in prison as of this year. And, you can figure that out from that clue. In some ways, like I said, put a pin in it. It's pretty easy to figure out if you know what I'm talking about. This incident happened around the beginning of the season, right? Yeah, Chauncey Billups. The spelling is crazy with the O, but you're going to get it, Fiercey. It's close enough. Yeah, Chauncey is in big trouble. He was a Celtic and he was a Raptor, but now he's in big trouble for gambling, the gambling ring. So Chauncey Billups is the correct answer. That's right. Glenn Davis, that's a good guess. But see, the thing is, Big Baby was never a Raptor. So it wouldn't fit, Reggie, but it's a good guess. Good to see our Raptor Freak original. One of our champions, Smooth Brown Man, is in the house. Good morning to you, Reggie. All right, guys. Who wore the number 8 in the green St. Patrick's Day specialty jersey in the history of the Raptors? When we wore the green jerseys for St. Patrick's Day, who was wearing number 8? Who was numero ocho? Ocho. That's my clue I'm giving. Who's numero ocho? You could think about how Herbie would call his name when he came into the game. Numero ocho. Popso is not right, James. That's a fun guess, though. I like that. Popso. Yeah. You're digging deep for that one, James. Digging deep for that one. Who is numero ocho in the green St. Patrick's Day jersey in that era of the Raptors? I mean, I gave you the time frame. There you go. Fiercey knows. That's the clue. Numero ocho, that's Spanish. And it's our Spanish point guard, excellent point guard, Jose Calderon. Jose Calderon is the right answer. Wearing the green St. Patrick's Day 8. Stargate, you're just behind on my screen. And you called him Calderon. He's Calderon. I love that, man. That's cool. It's kind of cool. Cold-blooded. All right, here we go, guys. This Toronto Raptors / Boston Celtic was hanging with the kids at medieval times. Yeah, that one's easy. Y'all know this one. Who was hanging out at medieval times with the kids? Former Celtic and former Raptor. Yeah, your favorite Raptor? And according to RJ, he's one of his favorite Raptors too, as of yesterday. The answer to this question. Oh, is Jose your favorite Raptor? Or is it the guy who took all the kids to medieval times, hanging with this guy, former Raptor and former Celtic also? Who is that player? Full name answer, please, for that. Who is a former Celtic and a former Raptor who took the kids to medieval times and he was hanging with them? Kelly Olynyk? No, that's a good guess because Kelly Olynyk was a former Celtic and a former Raptor, but it's not Kelly Olynyk. No, this is a good one. Yesterday, RJ did an interview after Fan Day, and he named two players that were two of his deep cut favorites on the Raptors when he was a little kid. And he said Sonny Weems, and he said this guy. The answer to this question: no, not Patrick O'Brien, but put a pin in that one too. I'll just say that. No, it's who used to hang out with the fans, hanging with this person on the Raptors. Come on, y'all. We know our Raptors history, right? Jamario Moon. That's around the right time, James. But it's not right. It's not right. Who had the fun of hanging with the kids? That's right. Amir Johnson, y'all. Come on now. Fiercey's got it first, just ahead of James on my screen. Adriana, is it Fiercey for your screen? Because I see Fiercey right before James. He was right there. Hanging with Amir was the program. They used to go all kinds of places. Of course, they went to medieval times. And Amir Johnson was a Raptor, and then he went and was a Celtic after us. So, yeah, Adriana has ruled that Fiercey gets the points, that it is that one. All right, question number 8, guys. On the picture for this stream today, who wore number 44 in the green Raptors St. Patrick's jersey? He's pictured in the picture for this. Yeah, the Young Guns. RJ let it be known that he loved the Young Guns when he's a little kid. He said he started watching the Raptors around when he was 7, and he just fell in love with them. And he used to come to the arena all the time with his dad when he worked for us. And he'd watch DeMar and Chris Bosh in the practice facility at the Raptors arena when he was young, man. Kevin Garnett. You think Kevin Garnett is the one who wore number 44? No, Kevin Garnett never played for the Raptors. Trevor J. That's not right. Who wore number 44 in the green St. Patrick's Day jersey? His picture is on the cover of this stream today. Walt Williams. That's a little too early. Seymour. Yes. I've been so worried about you, Seymour Pate. I've been so worried about you, man. I'm like, man, he's not messaging me back. I hope he's not like, in any kind of trouble in any kind of way, whether it's, whatever facility he's in, a hospital or whatever, man. I've been worried about you, Seymour. I just want to let you know that. I'm so happy to see you return to the chat, man. It's not Walt Williams. That's too early. Who was number 44? But I believe Walt Williams was a 44, so that's a good guess. No, this guy, it's a little tough, It's a little tough. This is one of the hardest questions. And that's why I wanted y'all to be able to look at the picture of him on the stream cover to kind of check and see who he is. John Wallace, it's too early. Both those guys are like expansion Raptors. We're in the Bosh era for this. And this is like, like I said, 2008 to 2011 is when we wore the St. Patrick's Day jerseys. And we wore them for like 4 years. He does look like Garnett. Yeah, Trevor's right for saying that. But did Kevin Garnett ever play for the Raptors, guys? No, he didn't. Isaiah wanted him to, but he didn't. Isaiah Thomas really wanted Kevin Garnett to play here, but Kevin McHale had a different idea. Yeah. I mean, I'll say this, when you were a little kid and you hurt yourself, like you stubbed your toe or you skinned your knee, who'd you run and say, I need you. What person did you say that? Well, think the other person that's with that person. That's the name. That may be a good clue there. I don't know if it is or not, but yeah. Or maybe like, when I was a little kid, there was a cereal by Kellogg's, and it was called Corn Blank, and the second word is his name. Yeah, Corn Blank. The Kellogg's cereal that was Corn Blank with the yellow box. What was that cereal and what was that called? And well, you got the first name of the person. Jerome Moisu. Wow, man. Stargate, I'm going to give you some dunks for just really pulling the obscure Raptors out here, man. Seymour saying, I was visited by RCMP over verbal abuse over the phone. CRA stole $9,000 from me. I'm not happy, to be honest, but hey, we push on. Man, whatever's been going on with you, man, you've got the RFF support. We love you, man. And whatever bullshit's going on out there with whatever's happening, man, we're here for you. And man, I'm serious, man. I've been worried about you. I've messaged you, I've texted you, and I've just been thinking, man, I just hope Seymour's all right. That's all. That's all I was caring about, man. Yeah, you're always here in spirit. You always will be. Yeah, there we go. Smooth got it. It's Pops, Corn Pops. Pops Mensa Bonzu is the one in the picture. So Smooth's gonna get this one. Good job, Reggie. Yeah, 44 in the green St. Patrick's Day jersey is Pops. Pops Mensa Bonsu. Yeah, G saying, yes, Seymour is back. Sorry about the CRA. That's awful. Yeah, that's messed up, man. Whatever. Oh, man, that sucks, man. Well, listen, I want to talk to you off the air sometime today just to catch up with you, my guy, and just see how you're doing. All right, privately. All right. Salute to you, man. Seriously, man. Your absence was felt. I'm just gonna say that. I was like, man, all my good like call people have been just dropped off the earth all of a sudden. Infamous has had trouble too. I've been in contact with him and caught up with him, and he's been having some strife in his life right now. And of course, Kareem gave up the channel for Lent. So it's like there's three of my power hitters in the middle of the lineup right there, just not here all of a sudden. And I was like, man, where are these guys at? And yeah, you were missed. Your absence was felt. Seriously, seriously. We all got your back, my guy. Look at that. Blackhawks all pissed off for you. Yeah, pops. Oh man. Oh man. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. This Toronto Raptors slash Boston Celtic was a college legend for the Ohio State University. This Toronto Raptors slash Boston Celtic, meaning he played for both teams at some point in his career, was a college legend for the Ohio State University. Yeah, they always say that in the introductions on NFL, right? I'm like, I'm Joe Blow from the Ohio State University. Yeah, Seymour knows it. Look, Seymour's back in power, man. It's Jared Sullinger. That is exactly right. Jared Sullinger was a legend as a Buckeye on the Ohio State University. In fact, can we say that he was a better college player than NBA player? I think that's fair, right? I think that's pretty fair right there. Seymour, look at that. Getting some trivia points right there. That's right. All right, next one. And be fast on this one. Which one of the Raptors wore number 10 in the green St. Patrick's Day Raptors jersey? Which one of the Raptors wore number 10 in the green St. Patrick's Day Raptors jersey? That's right. Yeah, it's not really Sillinger's fault. He was just a between guy. He had power forward speed, but not totally the height. And it's like he wasn't. In some ways, he was an in-betweener. This is a classic thing that messes up guys from college. DeMar DeRozan is right, Fiercey. DeMar did wear the number 10 in the early part of his career for the Raptors in the St. Patrick's jersey. Yeah, DeMar is the right answer. Look at that, Fiercey. Good job. All right, we're over halfway, so we'll keep going. Man, I really apologize that my voice isn't exactly right today, guys. But this was because of the game, okay? This was because of the Pistons game, why my voice is like this. So it's totally worth it. So please put up with that. Yeah, Stargate saying Sully used to kill us when he was with the Celtics. He was interesting on our team, too, because he got to start for the little bit of time that he was on our team because we needed him for the size. Yeah. Mr. Quasimodo saying you have my prayers and thoughts for a resolution to all this. Yeah, for Seymour. Yeah, we'll collectively look out for you and send you good psychic energy, my guy. We'll send you God's energy, just like we were talking about earlier. That's right. Smooth saying he was supposed to be a lottery pick. Well, he was so dominant in college for Ohio State that everybody just figured he would that would translate. That's the biggest fallacy. Like, he's a good example of what I talk about all the time. Just because this guy tears up the NCAA don't mean he's going to tear up the NBA. There's so many guys that are good in the college because it's slower and smaller, but when they get to the big league, the league's too fast or too big for them. And in some ways, that's where Jared Sullinger fell through the cracks, is as an in-betweener. That's right. Yeah, he came here and he sucked. Some of it was also that he had trouble keeping his weight down. He was not keeping himself in shape correctly. Yeah. He was a lottery pick. I think he was a lottery pick. He did get picked pretty high. It's just that he didn't work out. Who was more of a disappointment, Otto Porter Jr. or Sullinger? Well, I think we had more riding on Otto in some ways for what he was going to be when we got him that time. So I would say Otto is. I didn't expect anything from Jared Sullinger. I expect more from Otto when he showed up. And he didn't do anything. Jared did a little bit, right? He did do some stuff to help us. All right, let's get back on track. This Toronto Raptors slash Boston Celtic has a streetwear brand called In Your City. This, yeah, all right, Adriana. That's not what I'm trying to say. This is important in the NBA, Adriana. If the man's out of shape, he can't play correctly. This isn't about him being fat. This is about if he can't run up and down the court without huffing and puffing, he ain't in the NBA right. That's what it is. So she's trying to get on me about talking about body shape in the NBA. But you've got to understand this matters. This matters in the league. If you're fat and you can't run up and down the court, that is why it matters. I'm not talking about his appearance. If he wants to be fat on his own time, go ahead, but not on the Raptors' time. That's the thing right there. You can be fat. I'm not trying to tell him he's bad for being fat. It's just if he's playing in that Raptors red jersey, he can't be that. He's got streamlined. Get up and down the court. Anyway, you getting off track, Commissioner Trivia, with your own agenda right here. Come on now. This Toronto Raptor slash Boston Celtic has a streetwear brand named In Your City. In Your City. I've had this question before. I love you, Adrian. I'm not trying to dog you out or anything. It's just you've been getting on me for this for the last week or so in this subject, and it's valid, but not in the middle of my stream right now when I'm trying to keep on top of things. Delano Banton is right, Fiercey. That's right. Rexdale Bus has the streetwear gear called In Your City. He started it with his friends from Rexdale. And yes, he is the Raptor Celtic I'm alluding to here. Fiercey is a trivia champion soon. I know she's going to be. That's right. All right, this may be one of the harder questions right here. So be ready, y'all. Who wore the number 5 in the green Raptors jersey when we wore the St. Patrick's Day jerseys? Who wore the number 5? You never heard of Delano's streetwear brand? It's a small-time one. Maybe you should go buy it. Maybe you should go buy some In Your City gear. That's right. Rexdale bust. Whoa, that's mean. That's mean. He did get back to the league. He was on the Clippers and the Celtics in the last month or like 2 months ago. So, yeah, Jalen Rose is a good guess, but it's not Jalen. I think he was just before we did the green Celtics, the green St. Patrick's Day jerseys, and he was gone from the team by then. But it's another 5. This one's really hard. I don't even know if I should have done this one. Let's see. All right. His first name is the name of the disgraced pedophile that used to sell subs for Subway. His first name. That's a clue right there, isn't it? His first name is the first name of the disgraced man who used to sell subs for Subway. That's a pedophile, and I think he's in prison now. Although all pedophiles should be in prison, Donald Trump. That's right. Yeah. Jared. Yeah, that's the first name. So the number 5 in the Raptors green jersey, his name was Jared. Jared Butler? No, not Jared Butler. Jared Jack? No, not Jared Jack. These are good guesses. Might have to go deep for this one. There's a shoe store that's called man, I can't do it that way. That's hard. How do I do this? All right, let's just say, oh man, no, that doesn't work either. It's really hard to make a clue out of his last name. You guys just got to figure out the Jared that played for the Raptors around this era. I don't know how to do the thing for the last name. I mean, there's a discount shoe store that's called it starts with a P, and it's a P shoe store. I don't want to say the word because it's going to give it away as soon as I say the word. So think of a discount shoe store that starts with a P, and it's called the blank shoe store. And that word rhymes with his last name, is what I was saying. Yeah, and Jared is his first name. Jared is his first name. Man, this question's stupid. This one's too hard, I think. There you go. Thank you, Stargate, for bailing me out. Payless Shoe Store, Bayless, Jared Bayless. That's right. That's who it was. Jared Bayless. Yeah. Man, Stargate, you're a hero. You're a hero. I was flailing right there. I was like, I don't know how to get this one across, but Stargate came through, and I see that Fiercey came in afterwards with it. Yeah, Jared Bayless wore number 5 in the green St. Patrick's Day jersey in the history of the Raptors. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. We've got 5 more questions. This Toronto Raptors slash Boston Celtic pumped it up at the dunk contest and also at Jacksonville University. This former Raptor, former Celtic, pumped it up at the dunk contest and also at Jacksonville University, where he went to college. So, yeah, if you know your Raptors history, you can figure out this shared Raptors Celtic. Yeah, played for both teams. Yeah. D Brown is right, Reggie. That's right. He remembers the Reebok pump. He remembers the early vet for Vince Carter, D Brown, who played for the Celtics before he came to Toronto. And yeah, he was on the Celtics for a while. He was a very loved Celtic too, but we liked him up here in Toronto. Underrated Toronto Raptor who gets forgotten. D Brown. D Brown. Yeah, Stargate, you're just in after Reggie, it looks like there. All right, let's see. Who wore number 18 in the green St. Patrick's Day Raptors jersey? Who wore number 18 in that St. Patrick's Day green? It's so weird. It didn't look right. I'm glad they don't do this anymore. I really am. I'm really glad they don't do a St. Patrick's Day jersey for the Raptors because it's just stupid. It's like we shouldn't be wearing green. We shouldn't. No. So who would be number 18 in a green St. Patrick's Day specialty jersey for the Raptors? Yeah, of course, this is Jack Armstrong's in high demand today, guys. Yeah, Fiercey's right. It is Anthony Parker. It's just like when we do the dunks and I say you got the Anthony Parker 18. Well, this is the Anthony Parker 18 in the green jersey. So Fiercey gets it. It is the brother of Candace Parker, one of the greatest WNBA players ever. And yeah, it's Anthony. It's Anthony. All right, 3 more to go, guys. And you guys are doing great. You guys are working through this. The hardest ones are past us, I think. I'm hoping. All right, this Toronto Raptor / Boston Celtic is not as good as his brother or his dad. That one should be pretty easy. This Toronto Raptor / Boston Celtic is not as good as his brother or his dad. Yeah, in the NBA, I should say that. In the NBA. He's not as good as his brother or his dad in the NBA. Ron Harper Jr. Yes, Fiercey knows. That's right. She's figuring out all of her Raptor Celtics, people that were on the Raptors, but also went and played on the Celtics at some point too. Ron Harper Jr. is the right answer. Dylan Harper, Ron Harper Sr. as the brother and the dad, right? Yeah, Dylan's already better than Ron Harper Jr. We can say that, right? He's in his rookie year. He's doing some good things for the Spurs. It's not Ron Harper Jr.'s fault. I mean, he's a good player still, and he's stuck around, right? He's still around the league. I think he's on the Celtics still. I think he is. Yeah. All right, guys. 2 more. Who wore the number 20 in the green Raptors Day, St. Patrick's Day jersey? Yeah. Ron Harper Sr. has a lot to say online. Yeah, he does. I agree with a lot of stuff he says most of the time. You know, he's got a lot of rings. He can talk, right? Kind of on the fence with him. I have to look at his most latest opines. Maybe I'll be like, yeah, maybe that's crazy. I don't know. But, I mean, he has the rings to talk it, right? Between Chicago and L.A., he's got the rings to talk it. That's for sure. All right, so who wore number 20 in the green St. Patrick's Day jersey? This one's a little tougher. This one may be kind of hard. Yeah, who would have wore number 20 in the green St. Patrick's Day jersey? You guys give me a couple clues. I'll give you the answers here. So I'll give you some clues. Give me some answers. I'll give you some clues. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, you give me the first answer. Who do you think was number 20 in that era that wore a Raptors green St. Patrick's Day jersey that just looked weird? Alvin? Yeah, Alvin's a 20. That's a pretty good answer. But you did do the Alvin and the Chipmunks. What are you talking about? It's Alvin, Simon, and Theodore? Stargate saying, I loved Ron Harper when he paired up with Mark Price in Cleveland. Well, that's when he was still healthy before he had injuries, and he was his full power, and he was like a 20-plus scorer. And, yeah, he in some ways was in some shades of Jordan in that direction. But then he had injuries, and he went to the Clippers, and then he came to the Bulls. And, yeah, he was washed a little bit after that. But he was a very good defensive player, even though his offense went away. UC's here, and UC's going to come and scoop Leandro Barboza. Is exactly right. UC's on the board for Leandro Barboza. The Brazilian blur is the number 20 in the green St. Patrick's Day Raptors jersey. Good job, UC. Awesome. All right, here we go. The last question of the day. This Toronto Raptors / Boston Celtic is a namesake of today's holiday. Who is the most St. Patrick's Day sounding name in the history of the Raptors? And he did play on the Celtics, which makes sense considering his name. And if you're paying attention to the trivia, the answer's already been there. Reggie's saying Bulls were perfect for him. Didn't do much. Well, Jordan, he had to just be the counterpart to Jordan. Fiercey knows it's Patrick O'Brien. That's right. Patrick O'Brien is the answer. He was a Celtic and a Raptor, and he is a very St. Patrick's Day kind of name. Patrick O'Brien. Yeah, and that's the right answer. Good job, Fiercey. And that concludes today's Raptor Freak Tuesday Trivia St. Patrick's Day edition. And I appreciate everybody playing. I will add up all the totals after the show's over today, and I'll post the trivia standings in the comments for everybody to see tomorrow. Yeah. I want to say real quick a thank you to Stilldale for the super chat that you sent me last night. Very, very generous donation to the channel. And I appreciate you so much. I'm guessing you're one of the people that I saw at the game the other night. And I appreciate you, man. I hope you're watching. Definitely come in and talk to us live during the show sometime if you get a chance, please. All right, let's see. All right, let's go. All right, Adriana is out. Adriana, thank you. I love you. I appreciate you so much. I'll try not to body shame anybody. All right, I appreciate you so much. I don't try to do that. I don't. I don't try to do that. Yeah, Fiercely saying no question on O'Shea. Yeah, there were a lot of guys I could have done questions on. But you know what? I did figure out that this is another type of trivia I can do in the future where we do guys that are shared between teams. Like maybe we'll do Phoenix Suns and Toronto Raptors in the future, where I go down the list and I start asking questions about, well, this player played for both the Raptors and the Suns, and I give you one clue, and then you got to tell me who they are. So this may be a format for the trivia in the future, just so you guys know that we're going to do Raptors / Celtics or something like Raptors / Bulls, so Raptors / Hawks. So be ready for that in the future. Seriously. Yeah. Let's see. Ditto for the Lakers as well. You're talking about, yeah, when he was on the Lakers, he really fit in there. It's basically because he's a good defensive guard when he's hurt and he can't play his offense like he could. Ron Harper Sr. And when you put him on a backcourt with somebody like Jordan or Kobe, you know, he's taking care of a lot of that other stuff that maybe they can go and put more weight into their offense. And Ron's kind of just looking out for, you know, the guard stuff, the guard work, guarding. You know what I mean? I think that's what it is right there. Yeah, really happy the Magic lost yesterday at Magic City game in Atlanta. That wasn't Magic City game, but it was supposed to be the Magic City game, but it got banned. They couldn't do it. Love you too. Love you too. Thank you, Adriana. Girl power. That's right. Let's go. I like the Raptor other team concept. You like that? Yeah, we'll do that in the future. It's a good new format. I have to strive to keep it fresh and have new ideas. And well, I'm not going to tell you exactly when or what team. I'm going to keep you on your toes because I don't like anybody studying for my exams. These are pop quizzes. And pre-research is not right. And that's why I put the picture up and start the trivia stream right before I go on the air. Because if I tell you the subject of the trivia, I know y'all are competitive enough to go out and research it like you're in school again and cram for a test. As people have shown that over the 4 years of doing these trivia games, that people will get very serious and they will actually go and study for my Raptor Freak trivia. So I think that says something about it right there. UC saying this, St. Patrick's Day is a fun holiday, but I never got the point of having jerseys for the Raptors on this day. Yeah, let's explore this a little bit. You know, I think that it goes back to the roots of the Leafs is why that they would wear a green St. Patrick's Day jersey because of the St. Pats, right? Because there was a history part of the Maple Leafs history where they were wearing green jerseys and they had the clovers on and they were the St. Pats, right? So maybe that's like an homage to that. Maybe it was just that there was somebody involved in the Raptors organization at that time that was very proud of being Irish and really into being, the holiday of St. Patrick's Day. Maybe there was people coming to the Raptors and saying, y'all get to make specialty jerseys every year. You got to have a special jersey that's different. Okay, we'll do camouflage. Okay, that was ugly as hell, by the way. The Raptors were the first NBA team to ever wear camouflage as a uniform, which is crazy. And then we had like really cool specialty like European jerseys that we wore. Like we had a Spanish jersey for Jose and Jorge, which was red with yellow trim. And then we even have an Italian one once for Bargnani. that was white, red with green, like the flag of Italy. So there's been around that time, the specialty jerseys were different. And these jerseys would be like the equivalent of the city edition jersey. We didn't have city edition concept across the NBA, but they did have specialty jerseys. And they were like, somebody was like, well, why don't we do a St. Patrick's Day jersey? And we'll, maybe it was some idiot who was in our organization that actually loved the Celtics on the down low. Yeah, we're going to make the Raptors wear green. We're going to say it's St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, whoever it was bad. It was a monstrosity. Some people may like those green Raptors jerseys, but I don't. And some people are looking for them. There's a guy on Reddit. He's saying, yo, somebody help me get a Pops Mensah number 44 green Raptors jersey. And people in the comments are saying, you're searching for Excalibur. You're never going to find that shit. You going to find a green St. Patrick's Day 44 Pops Mensah jersey at Value Village, maybe? I don't know. You better be looking all over and sourcing for that, because it may be very hard to find that. And some people were saying they probably didn't even make those. You had to get it specialty made. Who knows? Who knows, man? Who knows? But yeah, you see, I'm not sure why we did green St. Patrick's Day jerseys. There's a couple of my reasonings possibly right there. Fiercely saying, great to broaden our knowledge. Yeah, this is the thing, man. We are passionate Toronto Raptors fans. In some ways, we are voracious. We want to know more about our team. And that is one of the aspects of this channel that helps to build the culture and the knowledge base of our fan nation to know and be more knowledgeable. When the Raptors started in the expansion years, we didn't know nothing about the NBA, basketball, or anything. I mean, some of us did because we were existing NBA fans, but a lot of people that got into the Raptors originally really didn't know anything about the sport. And so there's been a learning curve over the last 31 years of learning the NBA, learning basketball, and learning the Raptors. And well, we're at PhD level here. If you're playing Raptorfreak Tuesday Trivia or Classic Jurassic Tuesday Trivia, you are playing at the highest level of Raptors trivia out there. I'm sorry. There's nobody doing harder trivia on the Raptors than I am here. It's impossible. You go to the game, you can see the trivia questions on the Jumbotron. Those questions are easy compared to the ones I'm throwing at you here, because that's just how it is. PhD level. That's right. That's right. Excuse me. Trevor's saying Shed won the 3-point shootout yesterday at Raptors Fan Day. Yeah, Raptors Fan Day looked like a hoot. It looked like a hoot. All right, first of all, let's go do the Instagram stories, since a lot of it is on there. And we have a lot to talk about with Raptors Fan Day. Yeah, first of all, today in Mississauga, the 905 are going to be wearing City Edition jerseys like the ones we're wearing this year for the Raptors. The same motif with the red and the red lettering with the black and white, So that they should look pretty fly tonight. I'm excited to see how the 905 Saga jerseys look. So please join me today at 5 p.m. in the YouTube chat for Raptors 905 versus Motor City Cruise. If you have never watched the Raptors 905, today is your day to start. And come on in and watch it for free on YouTube later today, 5 p.m., because they're going to be wearing some very nice jerseys. And they have like 8 jerseys. It's going to be amazing. So yeah, check that out. Also, once again, as I said earlier, the Raptors 905 have accomplished clinching the G League playoffs as of this morning. Due to outcomes in the G League last night, the Raptors are statistically for sure in the playoffs. Now, they have to battle through these last few games of the season to get home court advantage still. So as long as they stay in the top 4 of the Eastern Conference of the G League, they will have home court advantage in the G League playoffs. So congratulations to everybody on the 905 for their accomplishment, and keep going. This looks like Jacoby Walter 10 hours ago was at OVO Center putting up shots. So it looks like the work never stops for Jacoby. The work never, ever stops. Now, there was a really funny little clip. Now, Trevor's talking about the 3-point shootout at Fan Day yesterday. They had Mamu, Grady, Jameson, Garrett Temple, all these guys shooting in this 3-point shootout. And the finals was Jacoby versus Jamal. Jamal Shed, Darko said in the practice yesterday, in the interview yesterday, that Jamal Shed's an ultimate competitor. He's a winner. He doesn't like losing. He doesn't like losing anything. In fact, if they're playing cards on the plane, Jamal is ultra competitive and he really, really, really tries hard. And I guess that makes sense because of the way he was at Houston with Kelvin Sampson and the attitude and the energy he brings to our team in games. Well, Jamal wasn't trying to lose this 3-point shootout yesterday in front of the fans. And him and Kobe went at a very strong competition. Jacoby was really on fire too. And they had the finals. And Jacoby put up a good number in the finals. And Jamal went after him. But Jamal caught fire and he beat him. And everybody went crazy. All the Raptors were jumping around and yay with Jamal. And Jacoby was hilarious. Because after the game, Jacoby started holding his head like this. He's like going, no, no. He started overacting like he was all upset. And he was funny, man. Jacoby, you're a funny guy, man. And I thought that was hilarious, man. That was just hilarious. And then, of course, Jamal Shed had this little clip where he's like hanging around with Jameson and Jacoby. And he said, we're the three best friends to the, I don't know. It's like SpongeBob or something. I don't know what the fuck it is. It's like some kid's song about I'm three best friends. And he's talking about him in battle and Walter. Some people were saying, well, where's J-Mo? Why isn't J-Mo in the three best friends? Because you guys are the 4J guys from last year. You're all rookies together coming in. Why aren't you including Mobo? Because Mobo's best friend is Scotty. And in some ways, Jamal being best friends with Walter in battle, in some ways, that's just how it is in the little drawings around whose friendships or what. You can't change the fact that Scotty and Jonathan are best friends. That's just how it is. That's going to be for the rest of their lives, unless there's some really crazy thing that happens, which I don't see because they're like this. So everybody's wondering why isn't Mobo involved in the three best friends? It's because Mobo's best friend is Scotty. That's why right there. That's the exact reason why. Let's see. All right, this is funny. Chris Boucher has posted something. He's got your phone when you say you want to buy something. It's like Instagram, Google, and Facebook listening to you. Yeah, because all of a sudden it comes up on your screen after you said you want to buy it. It's mysterious, huh? At the fan day yesterday, there was a child who was out of pocket. Very, very out of pocket. My friend Thuzy, who's an usher at Scotiabank, working for MLSC. He's an old friend of mine. I've known him for 25 years. He posted this on his Instagram. Basically, Scotty's coming out to fan day. And there's a group of little kids wearing basketball jerseys, and they're like high-fiving him coming out. And one of these little kids was a little jumpy. He jumped up and tapped Scott on the back of his head as he's passing by. First of all, I'm kind of impressed with the kid's reach because that's a tall man. And he jumped up there like it's kind of like he's grabbing the 8-foot rim. But Scotty turned around and was like, whoa, what'd you do? Why'd you do that? Like, it was so weird, man. It's like, why did that kid do that? And it's like Scotty he reacted to it. He's like, why'd you hit me in the head? Because the little kid hit him in the head. And I joked with Doozy. I was like, man, you ushers need to get these rough people out of this arena, man. People attacking the players like that, hitting them in the head like that. Ooh, Thuzy, go do your job. Usher this little kid out of the building for smacking Scotty in the back of the head. This is hilarious, man. But I know Scott didn't take it to heart. He probably thinks it's funny as hell. In fact, if he was still doing Twitch, I would want to go on Twitch with him and ask him to watch that clip and react to it and tell us what happened. Because that would be hilarious. Like to replay that stupid little moment where that kid hit him in the head. That kid's going to be kind of famous, though. Yo, I'm the kid who hit Scotty in the head at fan day. And that's messed up. Why'd you do that to him? It's just that was so funny when I saw that. I was like, what is this, man? What is this? Yeah, there's Shed with his three best friends stuff. Was Battle wearing glasses the whole time, like through the 3-point shootout? He's like wearing sunglasses. Like, what is that, Battle? You making it harder for yourself. Seriously, man. Let's see. What else do we got on the Instagrams? That's about it. Yeah, Scotty's saying damn kids, man, about that kid hitting him in the head. That's pretty crazy, man. Like that is crazy stuff, man. But anyway, yeah, that's the Instagram stories. Oh, the other thing that happened yesterday that I should talk about, and well, this has happened in the past, and in some ways this is a callback. Yeah, popcorn. Yeah. Yeah, back in the day, people don't remember this. Norman Powell and Fred VanVleet had their cars in the parking lot at Scotiabank Arena popcorned. Basically, some of the other Raptors, when they were rookies, Fred and Norm, they took a whole bunch of the arena popcorn from the Scotiabank Arena and dumped it in their whole interiors in their car. Well, Colin Murray-Boyles got that treatment yesterday. The Raptors took a ton of arena popcorn and filled the interior of Colin's car, and he did not look impressed. Seriously, he looked like he was pissed, seriously pissed. And all of them were out there laughing at it too. I mean, this is rookie hazing. In some ways, this is a rite of passage, young Murray-Boyles, that, the guys are just showing you love and saying, hey, Rook, this is a part of you being a rookie in the league. You get your car full of popcorn. And somebody was asking yesterday, I think it was Kaloy, is that the buttered popcorn? Probably. I mean, it's all slightly buttered, not where you go over to the station and you hit the extra butter and put it on there. I hope they didn't do that. That'd be cruel. But I think that it's just a regular butter that comes on the popcorn when they pop it. So, yeah, they filled it up, but they could have filled it up worse, Colin. Honestly, they only filled it up halfway. They filled it up bigger when they did Norm and Fred back in the day, just so you know. So he opens the door and the popcorn spills out and quickly runs up and grabs a handful and starts eating it. And Scotty goes around the other side. He starts eating some popcorn too. And Colin grabs a handful of popcorn and throws it at Scotty. And he doesn't look impressed. Seriously. I think he was pretty pissed about it. Seriously. Yeah, I bet you he's annoyed about it. Because it's like, man, these seats are all sticky now and buttery. What the hell is this? The Raptor has the funniest picture. You know how our team takes the victory photo in the locker room with Grady posing and everybody in the chain and stuff. Well, the Raptor went ahead and did a picture like that with all the mascots that were at Fan Day yesterday. They were mimicking the Raptors victory pictures in the locker room with the assortment of mascots that were with him, and they're all doing the Grady pose and posing like they're the Raptors in the victory photo. It's like Stripes and Carlton the Bear and the Argo, Jason the Argonaut. It's so goofy. It's funny, man. It's funny to see that. Seriously. I noticed something yesterday at Fan Day. AJ Lawson and Elijah Martin were not present. And I was wondering why. I'm like, why is AJ and Elijah not at Fan Day? And I bet you they were sad about it, especially AJ Lawson, because he's from Toronto. And in some ways, it's like it's a big deal to him to connect with the fans. I think it has something to do with the game today. That I think that they had a 9:05 practice at the same times as Fan Day yesterday. And the Raptors assigned Elijah Martin and AJ Lawson to Drew Jones in the 9:05 to practice for today's Motor City Cruise game. I think that's why. That's the only reason that I can come up with. Elijah Martin posted something of him driving to work yesterday morning, listening to Morgan Wallen and singing country music in his car. I don't know. Maybe they were a little sad about it because they wanted to go to Fan Day and be a part of it, but they weren't there. It's very strange, and their absence was felt. And I don't know whatever the decision was. I think it's because of the 9:05 thing that I just said, is that this game against Motor City today is important. And Drew Jones wanted Lawson and Martin at practice yesterday to get them set up for the game today. So they had to miss out on play. They couldn't have fun with the fans. And in some ways, it's also, I think they may be directed to play for 9:05 on the stretch run while the Raptors are on the West Coast trip. So they may not be going out west with the Raptors, AJ and Elijah. I think that that's what this is pointing to, because they're going to go to Chicago and then they're going to go out on the West Coast. And the Raptors 9:05, actually, the Raptors 9:05 will be going out West Coast too. They actually have some games out west while the Raptors are out west. So maybe they are going out west with them. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it all out, just the logistics of it. All right. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, there's Elijah in the car singing his country music. He loves the country music. There's the Instagram stories. I went a little old school on it and went in there and talked about it a bit there because it was kind of interesting stuff there. Yeah. Let's see. Excuse me. Stargate's asking me, Lex, whose jerseys do you have now? I was talking about this with Steve because he was blaming me for being like a jersey hound and just buying a bunch of jerseys. But there's really only been 2 periods of time where I bought a lot of jerseys. Now and like around 2000. Around 2000, I bought my first Raptors jersey, and it was this one right here. This is the first ever Raptors jersey I ever bought in my life. And this is an authentic one that's the real patches. It's not a replica. It's got the sewed on letters and Alvin Williams. And this was when we were in the playoffs for the first time. I wanted to celebrate the Raptors making the playoffs for the first time in their history, that I bought an Alvin Williams jersey, and then I bought a JYD jersey, and then I bought a Muggsy jersey, and then I bought that Keon Clark jersey. So I had 4 jerseys from that period of time. Then I didn't get another jersey until my ex-wife bought me this Bargnani jersey. When we were married, it was during that era. So she got me that jersey. And then I didn't have a jersey again until Adriana bought me this Scotty Barnes jersey like 5 years ago. And so I don't have a whole lot of jerseys throughout the whole history, but I do have a bunch of our jerseys now. And I went and got, so right now of the current Raptors, I've got the red 4. I've got the RJ City Edition from last year. This is the one with the Vince Carter logo, but it's RJ. I've got the BI City Edition for this year. This is BI this year. And then this is the one I bought at the game on Sunday, and I'm really happy about. I bought a Quickly white because I have never had a white Raptors jersey, and I wanted to get Quickly in white. So, and I have a plan to get the black jersey with the red lettering, the statement jersey, I think is what it's called, and in Pirtle. I want to get the 5th starter. I want to get Pirtle too, but I wasn't going to buy all of them that day. And I don't think they had that jersey I wanted at there. Yeah. Trevor's saying Hawks have now won 10 straight games. Well, congratulations, Hawks. Thanks for beating the Magic yesterday. And if I go look at the standings real quick, like I said earlier, they're technically ahead of us because they have more points in the 2 games we played against them. And that's all. It's like a 10, 12 point lead. And that's what separates us from being the 5th seed or the 6th seed right now. But the rubber match will happen in the next month. Well, we will play the Orlando Magic in the 3rd game of the season, and that will determine who has priority in the playoff seeding. So that's an extremely important game when we play the Magic one more time. And then the 2 games against the Miami but at the end of the season are huge games also. So we got to watch out for all of those games. Yeah, very, very important games. Let's see what else we're talking about in the chat this morning. Bryce Lawson's in the house. Good morning, Bryce. I hope you're doing really well. Stargate saying, yes, some kid smacked Scotty in the head. Yeah, that was crazy. Like, what is that? Why'd you do that, kid? Like, who are you? Who are you to do that to the great Scotty Barnes? Slapping him in the head. He's like, Scotty blocked shots in the 4th. I'm going to show him. Bam. Whoa, kid, why'd you hit me in the head? I'm blocking a shot like you in the 4th. You're my hero. Yeah, it don't mean you need to hit me in the head, though. I've been talking to Lloyd in the last day. He messaged me back, and we're talking about Scotty's chances for Defensive Player of the Year. You know, he thinks that he can get it. We both agree that he's a lock for first team all defense. This is the thing, Lloyd. This is the thing, Raptors freaks. The Raptors have never, ever had a Defensive Player of the Year in the history of our franchise. And if Scotty gets the Defensive Player of the Year somehow, some way at the end of the season, it'll be huge accomplishment because they've never, ever considered our team for that accolade. Now, this has to have 2 things happen for this to happen. First of all, the Raptors have to continue to win and play really well so that Scotty looks good. If we're free falling in the standings, he's not going to get consideration for this. So, Scotty, you want motivation to make sure the Raptors are going to win? Well, any kind of defensive awards that at the end of the season, you'll get them easier if you look good going out by playing at a high level and winning a lot of games on the way out. That's what I say right there. The second one is out of his control, and it's Wemby. It depends on if Wemby can finish the 65 games for the season. He has not got it yet. He is on track to get it, though. But if he does miss any of the games near the end, he could miss out on this. I think it's a pretty much a shoo-in that Victor Wembanyama, because he didn't make it last year, if he makes the minimum games this year, he will be Defensive Player of the Year. So the realistic chance of Scotty being it is 2 things. The Raptors have to win still and keep winning, and Wemby has to miss some games before the end of the season if Scotty's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. It's a long shot. I think that it's a very strong chance he's going to be all defensive first team, though. That is very strong chance, yeah. But kicking it with Lloyd on the Instagram chat, talking to him about this subject lately. I've also been talking to Alessandro, the photographer friend of Sandro. He's doing fantastic. He was sitting behind the Raptors bench, actually right behind Drake's seats over there, taking pictures right up next to the court. He's such a nice guy, man. And I told him if he needs to know anything about Toronto, I can help him because I lived downtown for a long, long time, and I know a lot of secret, fun stuff about the city of Toronto. And well, he's like grateful and thankful. Appreciate you, Alessandro. And if you're watching me today, man, I appreciate your time and your subscription, my guy. Yeah, yeah. He's been posting such amazing pictures of the Raptors in action. And he really is Sandro's personal photographer. I told him to hook up with CJ Miles. I was saying, man, you need to go talk to CJ because he's doing the same thing as you, and you guys can, commiserate and connect and what you're doing there. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Stargate saying, welcome to the Raptors, Colin. Yeah. In some ways, it's like, look, I've already been kind of reading Colin weird, like lately with his energy. Well, now is he like really pissed at his teammates because they did that? Or is it like, yeah, you guys really love me. You love me. You really love me. You popcorn in my car. It's funny, man. Stargate saying Colin wasn't that bad. Norman Fred's cars were filled to roofs. Yeah. Yeah, the way they did their cars was nasty. So in some ways, Colin, you got off scot-free in some ways. It wasn't the Post-its either. That's the other one that's crazy. Like they'll put Post-its all over the entire car on the outside to the point where you can't get to the door handle. It's just like the whole entire car has Post-its all around it. It's probably not very good environmentally to do that though. But yeah. Trevor's saying this Raptors Summer League going to be crazy with Shed, Jacoby, Battle, Jonathan, Martin, CMB. They'll have what it takes to win in Vegas. Well, you got the wrong team. Half those guys won't be there. Everybody who's going into their third year won't be there, and that's Shed, Jacoby, and Jonathan. Those guys won't be there. Chucky and Elijah and Colin will be there, but not the guys who are going in their third year. That's not standard practices. It's first and second year guys play in Summer League. If those guys are going to play in Summer League, it would be Mobo, maybe Battle. But you won't see Shed and Walter in Summer League. You won't see them in Summer League because those guys are a regular rotation for the Raptors, and they don't need Summer League. They don't need Summer League. You might see Battle and Mobo there, but you won't see Shed and Walter in Summer League. You will probably see the other guys, though. You're right, because those are first and second year players. Let's see. Bryce is saying the Magic played the Thunder today. Hopefully they lose and we take back fifth. Yeah, this is huge. This is great that you pointed this out, Bryce. Yeah, do us a favor, Shay. Seriously. Your cousin did us a favor last night. This is amazing. I have such Canadian pride for Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Woo-wee! Career high, 41 points for the Hawks against the Magic last night. Helping his home team in some ways vicariously by going off and beating the Magic last night. Thank you, Nickeil. Thank you, Team Canada's Nickeil, for going above and beyond. Well, the byproduct is your team is on a streak, and well, you just happen to help out the Toronto Raptors also, my guy, by doing that. So thank you, Alexander Walker. Now let's see Gilgeous Alexander do the similar thing as his cousin did last night in the back-to-back. That's right, Orlando. You get Alexander back-to-back. And Nickeil, he's done his job on you. It's time for SGA to step up the plate and kick your ass too. That's right. That is right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Seymour saying $10 billion for a team. $10 billion for a team. Whoa, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. UC saying this. Who has a better chance of playing for the Raptors, SGA or Nickeil? I think it's Alexander Walker because SGA is just so coveted. SGA is the kind of player that a team wants to lock in and make their player till they retire, like Tim Duncan. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if SGA will ever leave the Thunder his whole rest of his career. He may have had that little bit of time in Clippers at the beginning of his career, but most of his career will be Oklahoma City. I mean, they'd be dumb to let him go, right? They'd be dumb to let him go. They kind of asked questions about SGA yesterday at the Raptors interviews after Fan Day. They asked both RJ and Darko how they feel about NBA players utilizing the rules of the game to foul bait. Because there's a lot of discussion right now about foul baiting in certain top levels in the league, like SGA, foul baiting to get to the line over and over again. RJ was very diplomatic about it. He's like, look, you have to learn the rules of this league, And if you can find areas, gray areas, and places where you can manipulate and utilize it for your advantage, you go do that. You know, he's not going to speak out against SGA, his teammate on Team Canada, and say, "Oh, foul baiting is the worst thing in the world," like Jaylen Brown's saying right now. Jaylen Brown's going crazy, talking a lot in the last week about how he doesn't respect people that are manipulating the game to get the foul line overly. And you know who he's talking about. In some ways, he likes people that try and play the right way. And Jaylen Brown's very purist in this. And well, RJ's not going to be talking like Jaylen Brown about this subject. He's going to be very diplomatic, and he's say, "Look, if the rules are the rules, and you can figure out a way to manipulate this to your advantage, go do it." You know, if this is a big, huge problem, the NBA will change the rules and they'll cover it up. It's like Darko said this. It's like the NBA is an ever-changing entity and things change, and the players are smart. The players learn the game and they gain advantages by seeing the cracks and the gray areas, and they go and do them. So he's saying that. And well, the NBA catches up and changes the rules as time goes on. We can think about the stuff that Harden and Trae Young were doing a couple of years ago and how that was taken away from them, because it was really goofy shit, kicking out and trying to lean in to get fouled, you know, all that kind of stuff. The NBA catches up on these kind of trends and fixes them if they are a problem. Now, who's to say what is happening right now with the foul baiting with SGA is actually a problem or not? It may not be a problem. It's just people are whining. So there's a problem when Trae Young's kicking his leg out to try and get a foul shot on a three-point shot. Yeah, and they fixed that. So we'll just have to see how the NBA operates. Darko says, well, players are ahead of the rules, and they're going to try and game the rules as they can, and the NBA tries to catch up. That's what he said right there. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Excuse me. Jeez. Let's see. Where am I in here? Seymour saying after C and LV, who's next? After Seattle and Las Vegas? Oh, you're saying 10 billion for the team to get in. I think it's Montreal. I really do. I think that Montreal would be the next priority city on the list after Vegas and Seattle for expansion. But like we said on the stream in the last couple of days, it may not be a brand new franchise. It may be they move a team. And we were actually speculating 2 days ago, wouldn't it be weird if the Grizzlies were in Montreal all of a sudden from Memphis? And they started in Vancouver, went to Memphis, and then swung all the way over to Montreal, and were the Montreal Grizzlies all of a sudden. That would be pretty strange. The Canadian team to the American team to back to being a Canadian team. Because, once they have 32 franchises in the NBA, that seems like the max. I don't know. Like, you go past 32, it's not natural. So at that point, it's kind of like, relocating teams, like Smooth was saying the other day. He thinks that that's what they should do now instead of expanding. I think that relocation from bad markets will be more the movement after this expansion. Seymour Pay. That's just my educated opinion on it. Bryce is saying, I don't know if you've seen the jerseys I got in Discord, but I got a Scotty and a BI City edition. They are such nice jerseys. Can't wait to rep them when I go to the game. Man, Bryce, I did see your jerseys in that picture, and I was like, those are badass. I love that you got both of them City edition. And, yeah, they're nice jerseys. I mean, I got Adriana one of those jerseys, a Pirtle. But, yeah, this style is pretty nice. This is kind of what the 905 jersey is going to look like today. The same color scheme. Not exactly. It's not the Raptor on it. It'll say Saga on it. But, yeah, I love this City Edition. I think this is one of the best City Edition jerseys the Raptors ever made. Like, seriously. This is so awesome because I like it because it's got red on it. I like it because it's got my favorite Raptors jersey of all time on it on the Raptor, which is that chevron earned not given championship North. And it's got the 19 on it, too. And that's cool because Adriana's jersey's got the 19 on the jersey and the 19 up here because she got Pirtle. So, yeah, that's a fire jersey, Bryce. And you're going to look great in it when you come to the Raptors game. Seriously, you're going to look great, man. Let's keep going. Shaq Lindsay's saying, that's my boy, Nickel. He's a bad man. 41 points. Sorry, folks. Nickel ain't coming to Toronto. Too many distractions. Plus, he's happy where he is. Yeah, this has been a great switch for him from Minnesota to Atlanta this year. It's been great for him professionally. In some ways, the logjam on Minnesota is like Anthony Edwards, and that you're not going to get that kind of stuff. But in Atlanta, and especially because Trae left now, The Alexander Walker is way more important to them at this point. In some ways, the Atlanta Hawks are probably feeling like, man, we've got our own level of SGA here with Nickel. And, there's some truth to that. I mean, it's not really totally the same, but there are parallels. There is the similar DNA there. So, yeah, I'm very proud of him, too. Of course, all of our Team Canada guys that play for our country and wear our jersey in international play are guys that we care about and we support and we love, even if they're playing on other NBA teams. And Alexander Walker is one of them. That's for sure. And I really do appreciate what he did last night. And Shaq Lindsay has a personal connection to him. So there you go. There you go. Trevor's saying Alexander Walker is the best player for the Hawks. He had 24 in the first quarter last night. That's amazing, Trevor. Woo-wee. Magic City. All right. Nickel was like, man, I want to go ahead and we're going to act like the Magic City night's happening anyway. I'm going to be Magic out here on the court. That's right. Against the Magic. Against the Magic. Yeah. Seymour saying security would be insane at Mexico City game. The food. Oh, the food. Once again, I want to tell everybody something right now, and this is very important. Here in North America, we're conditioned to think about other places around the world in the worst ways sometimes, and it's really the United States' fault. They bring out so much propaganda about the rest of the world because it's so important to them that they're number one and that their citizens think that they're the best at everything. It's a lot of crap. A lot of the stuff they say about Mexico is not fair. A lot of things they say about Iran are not fair. There's a lot of things they're saying about a lot of different countries and regions around the world that is not fair. They'll make you think every place is a shithole and it's dangerous and criminal. Well, in some ways, the fingers, when you're pointing at U.S., is one finger out and four back at you. Because honestly, that's the truth about your country right now. In some ways, most people around the world are saying, I'd rather not go to the United States. I'd rather go to Mexico. Mexico is probably more safe than the United States at this point. Now, there was a little cartel fracas recently where people got kind of trapped in a resort town. But there's a whole other level of stuff I could talk about with the resorts and the economic inequality in Mexico around those resort towns for foreigners to come and enjoy Mexican beaches. But listen, man, let's not fall into the trap of propaganda and bullshit, making things sound way worse. Mexico City is a metropolitan city that has a lot of classy things about it. It is a modernized city. It is not a shanty town. It is not overly dangerous. It is not a dangerous place. It's actually a very world-class city in a lot of ways. So having a team in Mexico City, I know people would be worried about players getting kidnapped by the cartel or something like that. That's crazy. Nah, that shit wouldn't happen. They've had a G League team for a few years now. And big names have come down there and played in their arena and been around down there, guys in the G League. Sure, it may be different. You're bringing LeBron James down to Mexico City. But let's not let our biases from propaganda from the powers that be shape our minds on other countries. This is an American playbook. And in some ways, their shading of Iran is being used as a weapon to justify an unjust war right now. And the misrepresentation of what Iran is really messed up because Iran is a very modern country. It's a very big country, and there's a lot of people there. But the ends justifies the means. The United States wants to sully them to justify an unjust, illegal war that they just started recently. They're going to say all kinds of crazy bullshit about that country that's just not true. So we got to watch for this. I would say China is another country that's misconceptions about all over the place. There's a lot of misconceptions about Africa. There's a lot of misconceptions about most of the parts of the world. And it's the U.S. propaganda bullshit saying this. What I'm going to say today is I'm declaring something right now, and it's been declared by the world and by the press at this point. Canada is now the leader of the free world. Yeah, it's not the United States anymore. We have decided that Mark Carney is the right global leader for the free world with the European Alliance and the Alliance of the 40. The United States is not free world anymore. So now Canada is the leader of the free world. The United States used to be able to say that, but you're not free anymore, United States. You have a fascist in charge, and you have concentration camps going up all over your country. So if you want to be the leader of the free world, you have to get rid of your dictator to get that moniker back. So wow, y'all are all messed up and you've dropped the ball and you're not going to be the leader of the free world anymore. Canada's going to step in your place. We're going to take care of that instead. So yeah, I'm proud of Mark Carney. I'm proud of Canada for stepping up and being for freedom and democracy and what's right in this world. And in some ways, if the vacuum of leadership in the world is going to be gone from the United States, Canada's stepping into it right now. And you know what? I'm proud of our country for doing this because in some ways, somebody has to be the role model. Somebody has to be adult in the room and act like a country should. And Donald Trump in the United States has gone off the rails, and they don't deserve the leadership role of the world anymore. You are not the leaders of the free world anymore, United States. That is over. Canada is now the leader of the free world. If you hate that, well, get yourself free again and get the fucking orange buffoon out of the White House as soon as possible. And then maybe we can reconsider y'all coming back to your leadership role. But you're down and out with your role right now, and you're not in it. And that's not your choice whether you are or not. It's not up to you. It's up to the rest of the world. And that's what they're saying. That's what Denmark's saying. That's what Japan's saying. That's what Australia's saying. That's what Africa's saying. That's what everybody's saying. That Canada is now the nation that leads the free world. And USA ain't free no more. That's what it is right there. Boom goes the dynamite right there. Boom goes the dynamite. That's right. Happy for Nikhil. That's right. James is saying, is the playoffs next week for fantasy? Yes, James. I'm glad you brought that up. This is the last regular season week for our Yahoo NBA Raptorsfreak Fantasy League. And so all the seeding is going to be coming down to this. Fiercey, I don't know if you're going to make it. It's going to be so tough. But after this week, we'll be going in the first round for a playoff. So be ready. And I'm looking at it right now. And the teams that have already got their spots in the playoffs right now that are locked in are HC in the number 1 spot. We've also got number 2 is James. James is the number 2 seed. Number 3 is going to be Jason Dukes, the original Raptorsfreak fantasy champion. MK, the WNBA 2-time champion of fantasy, is in 4th. 5th spot is myself personally. I'll be playing MK, it looks like, in the first round. Amit the GOAT out of Israel is going to be in the 6th seed right now, is what it's looking like. And the 7th seed is still up for grabs, and so is the 8th. But Kazel is looking like he's going to lock down the 7th, and Nins is looking like he's going to get the 8th. And Fiercey's in 9th, looking on the outside in. Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough league, and, well, you've got to get your lineups in and do a consistent effort all season long. You get to that point. So, yeah, James, next week, first round. So check out, get ready for it. That's right. Check out and get ready for it. All right, let's keep going. Here is Raptors Redder of the day is Reasonable Reap. Yeah, Reasonable Reap. Thank you for bringing this video to Raptors Reddit. I had not seen this until like this past week. But basically, it's Scotty telling the story of when Darko freaked out at the beginning of the season when we won our first game this year, right? Darko had that picture of him reeling back like he's punching Emmanuel Quickly, right? You remember that? Well, apparently, there's a story to this thing, and Scotty was telling the story to somebody at the OVO Center, and he said, basically, the reason why I look like he's telling his favorite Darko story. He's like, well, we got a dub, and this man, he ran over, and, you know, Scotty made a really crazy face, like, what is he doing? Like, and he's like, he's screaming at me in the locker room. And basically, and there's a picture that you can see. He was screaming over me, and I look kind of terrified, right? But the man spit all over my food, man. This makes this story even crazier. Of course, we remember Darko freaking out about the win and being so happy. This was in Atlanta. This was the first game of the season when this happened. And he comes in, and Scotty's got a burger, man. I don't know which fast food it is, but he's got a burger in his hand. You don't see it on the camera. And Darko comes running in, and he's like, yeah, he's yelling. He's spitting all over his burger. And that's why Scotty's making that weird face, like, oh. And then, like, they show Scotty throwing the burger out in the trash afterwards because he can't eat it anymore because Darko spit all over it. That's hilarious. And Darko runs up on Scotty while he's telling this interview. And this is what he said to him. He says this. He's like, tell him you spit on my food, man. When you came in the locker room screaming, you spit in my food that day. And Darko says proudly, he said, I did spit on your food. He says it all proudly. It's such a funny clip, y'all. It's like this kind of stuff will make you love Darko more. And just like you see the energy of the weirdness of these guys. It's like, is this a normal coach-player relationship? Man, coach spit all over my burger, bro. That's hilarious. And he's like, yeah, I did. I spit all over your burger. Now we want Emmanuel's side of the story too. We want to hear his reaction to when Darko reeled back at him like he was going to hit him in that spot. And Emmanuel's like looking like he was, he's trying to hit me. Either way, Raptors Redditor of the day, Reasonable Reap. Thanks for sharing that on Reddit. Oh, that was so good, man. Yeah, Fiercely saying next year I will draft differently. Yeah, every year you got to strive new strategies and learning from the year before and just do better. I mean, it's just like an NBA team, right? You want to have better performances each year. And well, you learn from each year, right? You learn from each year. Y'all, straight goods on goods. You know, it's St. Patrick's Day, so it's Green Day, right? So Green Day. I'm gonna go ahead and put on blast green tea for today. And I like to buy Twinings. Twinings is like a UK brand of tea. Twinings of London. It is kind of a big corporate tea company. And, you know, in some ways I don't like that, but it is origin from UK. It is not US. And, well, I like tea. You know, one of the things, especially with my throat being all messed up, when I talk so much on the channel, like almost 4 hours yesterday, my throat needs a rest after my show. So one of my rituals I've been doing now is I drink a cup of tea after my show every single day now. And well, I like the Twinings and the green tea is fantastic, but this is like my tea stash. If you came over to my house, I have so many different kinds of tea in my tea stash. I keep like one of all the types that I buy. So you could get any type of tea you want. If you came over to my house, you could actually order a weird, obscure tea, and I probably have it. I even have the red rose bags in here too. See, red rose. Yeah, but like here's a pure chamomile. You know, we got some Christmas tea right here. You know, there's like all kinds of types. I got lemon and ginger. Which kind you want? Which kind you want? How about if you wanted to go to sleep later, a good night blend with no caffeine? There you go. Yeah, and of course the green tea by Twinings. So if you need some tea, don't buy American tea. Buy Canadian or UK tea, I guess. I don't know. There you go. Straight goods on Canadian goods. Twinings, green tea. We'll talk about them on Green St. Patrick's Day. That's right. That's right. All right, let me keep going with my stuff. Man, that's awesome news about the 905 making the playoffs this morning. I'm so proud of them, man. I've been following them so closely this year. And Andrew Jones, he said straight up, I want to make the playoffs and win this championship this year. This will be a big deal if the Raptors can do that. So it'll be really, really awesome. All right, let's see. We're going to go ahead and check my tabs, and maybe we're getting out of here soon, real quick. Oh, yeah, we're going to do classic card real quick. Let's go ahead and do that. And I'll add up to the trivia scores, and I'll post the standings after the stream today. So, all right, here we go. We got our classic card of the day. All right, let's see if y'all know this one. It's not too classic. That one might be pretty easy. But let's see. He's not in that uniform anymore, but that is a current player. We do know who this is. You get it. You know, there you go. Dyson Daniels. Yeah, Daniels. That's right. Fiercely got it. This is Dyson Daniels of the Atlanta Hawks now. Yeah, he's the Great Barrier Thief, right? Dyson Daniels. And I don't think that's that hard. So I'm going to give you a 50 points for that one. I don't think that one's that hard. He's so current, and in some ways, he's got a very specific look to himself. So he's kind of easy to determine. That's Dyson Daniels. He's the Australian guy. That's right. That's right. Good job, Slug DZ. You're just behind. Good to see you though. King of the classic cards, Slug DZ. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let me wrap it up. Yeah, he's Australian. You didn't know that? Yeah, he's Australian. It should stay somewhere on there. Yeah, from Australia, right there. The Great Barrier Thief. That's why they call him that, right? Because the Great Barrier Reef is off of Australia. So they call him the Great Barrier Reef. Watching FIBA games. Interesting. Yeah, I seen that the Canadian team for women's is, man, Kia Nurse, Bridget Carlton, Aaliyah Edwards, and they're doing good work recently. And they're taking care of business for qualifying rounds and the women's basketball senior women's team for Team Canada. So salute to those ladies and what they're doing. I've heard more news on the WNBA contract dispute, and it's just really looking bad for the owners. I'm serious, man. They think they have all this power. They thought that the players would just roll over because they care about playing. No, they're willing to see this through because, listen, as somebody pointed out, the WNBA players have nothing to lose. They don't make enough money to be scared of losing the money for the season. and the owners think that they're just going to roll over and take whatever they want. No, they're not, and they're willing to go to work stoppage. And it does very much look like they're not going to play, because honestly, the owners are not being serious about meeting them in the middle. They're very hardlining on a very low insulting percentage, and the players aren't asking for anything unreasonable, but the owners are being dicks. And that's the situation right now, is that, they're trying to have these meetings, and they're having intense meetings right now where they're locked in rooms and they're really trying to hash it out. And they've been doing this for like 5 days since that deadline last week that we talked about, and nothing's come of it. In some ways, they don't think the owners are serious enough about meeting in the middle, and they don't realize the players are very serious. They're not going to cave. The owners are trying to hold them out and say, oh, it's going to be bad for the game and this and this and this, and put all the pressure on the players. But the players in some ways have no pressure, because they played them peanuts anyway. And they honestly make more money in Unrivaled and foreign leagues than they do in the WNBA. So these owners in some ways have no fucking leverage right now. You want to have a WNBA league? Well, these players ain't going to play until you come correct with the percentages, owners. So stop being jackasses. And in some ways, I worry that these owners are, in some ways, they're not really serious about the WNBA, and they're trying to screw with it. And they're like, well, we don't care. All right, fine. You guys don't play. I don't know. Either way, the labor dispute with the WNBA is not resolved. It is still ongoing in negotiations. And the owners are greedy as fuck. Let's just put it that way. They're greedy as hell. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Fiercey's putting the Canadian flag up, and Stargate's saying, just a reminder, Lex, Africa is not a country. It's a continent with 54 countries. People tend to refer to it as if it's just one country. No, I get that. I just wanted, instead of naming all the countries, I just named the continent. I could say the same. I could say there's a lot of misconceptions about Asia. It's a similar thing. I don't want to, I do get this. I'm not geographically inept to think that Africa is a country. I only use the term Africa because it's the whole encompassing of the whole continent. And I don't want to leave any country out. I mean, if I'm going to name every single African country, that would take a long time, right? And we know that applies to most all of those countries. I mean, there's some countries in Africa, they're all very diverse. I get that too, that each country is very different. There's a difference between Egypt and Zimbabwe and South Africa, in the different places and stuff. It's just a catch-all, because in some ways we know that there's a lot of misconceptions about Africa and the nations of Africa. We know that. But yeah, I appreciate you checking me on that. And yeah, it's definitely a continent. Yeah, I know that. Yeah. Let's see. Fierce is saying Unrivaled coming for WNBA. Just watch. Pays them way more, but it sucks. I want progress for Toronto Tempo. Speaking of which, Sandy Brondello is the head coach for the Australian team in FIBA. I'm glad she's keeping busy. And this is just such a detriment. It's so annoying. Like this is just like so obstruction for like this smooth takeoff of the Toronto Tempo franchise. It's just been a mess all over the place. Whether them leaking our name ahead of when we wanted to announce it, there's just been all kinds of subterfuge and all kinds of weird shit around the Toronto Tempo starting. Whether it's even Ed Rogers denying the team in the first place and delaying it for a year. It's just in a really hard route. In some ways, it foretells a really huge success for them in the future, because they're going through it the hard way. And, it's kind of crazy that we're going through it the hard way before we even have players with the Toronto Tempo, because this is not going to be fair. You should have things established nice and slow and establishing a franchise. And if they're going to expect us to rush everything in like a week to do this, to try and stay on schedule for this season, you're crazy. There has to be at least a delay. But the thing is that they have all these dates marked down for these arenas, for these games. And if everything gets shifted, it's a lot more difficult to shift WNBA Toronto Tempo games at Scotiabank Arena in the middle of the summer that are locked down for those dates, if that has to happen. Maybe there's a quick, easy fix where they shave the front of the schedule off and they just add it to the back. And they go through the schedule through the dates that they already have that are already set for facilities, because this is like a lot of planning ahead of time. And if there's a delay for the WNBA season in the Toronto Tempo this year, it's going to really make things screwy. You know, they got games in Montreal, they got games in Vancouver, they got games at Scotiabank and at Coca-Cola Coliseum. They're playing in 4 different arenas for home games this year. And to coordinate all that and get that all sorted out with the possibility that everything's going to be delayed or not even happen. Yeah. And I know that Larry Tannenbaum's got deep pockets, so I'm not really worried about this economically. But who knows? Who's to say for Portland Fire and their situation? I don't know it well enough that this couldn't be economically hurting both of the expansion teams already before they even played, because they paid the fees to come into the league, which, by the way, is not shared with the players. The owners are pocketing it. And, you know, will it hurt Larry to miss out on the revenue that he's expecting to get to pay back some of the fees and the things he's already paid to invest in the Tempo becoming a team? You know, he won't be hurting for that because he's Larry Tannenbaum. But, you know, that it would cause financial strain on any other person that was doing this just by the skin of their teeth. This delay, you know, it's crazy, man. It is crazy, man. It's so bad. UC saying, hopefully the WNBA settles their situation. I want to see Caitlin Clark play in Toronto with my own eyes. Yeah. Yeah. That's what they're saying, is like the WNBA needs to wake up and understand they have the most popular player in North America, is what they're saying, in basketball. That's for both leagues. In some ways, they calculated it, and Caitlin Clark is the most popular player in the United States right now, between the NBA and the WNBA. That's a huge golden goose and cash cow. And in some ways, that there's money to be made, but these owners are not. They're not taking this seriously. In some ways, it's indicative of the whole women's rights for equal pay struggle that's always been going on. There's misogyny, there's patriarchy that looks down and says women shouldn't be paid the same and all this stuff. Oh, women are dumber and weaker than men. All that bullshit, that misogynist thing. And some of this is manifesting and bubbling to the top right now in the labor dispute for the WNBA. If these were men, would you guys come to the table a little bit more correctly? Is what I'm asking with these owners and the people on the other side that are, you know, honestly not taking this seriously enough. Maybe they don't care. I don't know. It's like, you're dumb. You got an investment in this. You've had a long time with this league already. Are you going to just let it like kind of go away because you guys are greedy? You're idiots. In some ways, this is maybe indicative and symbolizes the whole problem with the whole entire world right now. And greedy ass people at the top just want to be so greedy about bottom line and money that they can't concede any room or anything for that. Well, this is going to be how it be. Maybe it's symbolic of it. These women need to stand as laborers and workers in the union, and the rest of the world will take the example and we'll apply it to the whole big scheme of everything, because this is some bullshit. You guys need to pay them and stop being so fucking greedy, owners. And you know, this is the other thing that's shitty about this, and this has been the same in the past for the NBA and the labor disputes between the players and the owners in the 70s and all the other times, is that the press will be paid by the owners because they own other companies like Washington Post, and they'll put out a lot of bad press about the players being the wrong people, the people that are in the wrong, the people that are holding it up. They're the bad guys. And that is all just bullshit propaganda. And that's just rich people using the media to shape the perception of it. Don't believe this shit. Once again, I'll say this over and over again. If there's ever a labor dispute, it's not the union's fault. There's a lot of rich people that paid a lot of money to teach people that unions are bad, unions are wrong, unions are the bad guys. And it's not true. It's always the owners that are wrong, and they are the ones who are fucking things up. And the unions wouldn't have to exist if the owners were actually just people that were fair and equitable. So unions are important. Unions are never the wrong side. The ownership side is always the wrong side, and understand that. And especially going into an era where all media may be manipulated by the 1%, and they want to tell you the story that they want you to tell and see. But just remember the truth from before, when we go into this lying, crazy AI age where reality will be perverted by the powers that be to be what they want you to believe. Remember what you already know and connect the dots, because state-sponsored media is in the United States now. and it's not going to be telling you the truth. And if you've been on this earth like I have for 50 years or how many years already, you know how the old world was, and you know what the truth actually feels like and looks like. So you connect the dots beyond the bullshit lies that our media is going to become. It's sad because honestly, we depend on information in the media to know the news, right? Well, you can't trust that anymore because it's a weapon now to be utilized against us. And it sucks. It always was on the down low in certain ways, but it is more going to be more pronounced going forward in the years to come. So be aware of this, please. Use your critical thinking and connect the dots. Fiercely saying the good thing is that Tempo is in much better hands under Tannenbaum than Rogers. Yeah, I would say that's probably true. I would say that. I like that they're separate. You know, in some ways, I'm really happy about the CBL too. You know, if things get really weird, I want to be able to watch basketball no matter what. You know, God forbid anything weird happens and the Raptors' place in the NBA is in jeopardy because of global strife or global problems. But if the Raptors have to play in the Canadian Elite Basketball League all of a sudden, wouldn't that be weird, guys? You know, because like, look, there could be a closed border at some point. And the problems we had during the pandemic with having to play in Tampa and stuff like that, you know, I would root for the Raptors in the CBL if they had to play in the CBL because of some bullshit between the US and Canada. You know, I think at that point is probably all sports are off the table anyway. But I've actually thought about that scenario. Like, what if things get really stupid and dumb because of Donald Trump, and all of a sudden the Raptors' place in the NBA is a little shaky? You know, could we do this? Could we pivot into the CBL just for a brief period of time, and hopefully everything gets fixed and goes back the right way, just in case? You know, if I'm not supporting American companies, why am I still supporting the NBA? Some people would ask that. Yeah, that is something that I struggle with sometimes. Is like the NBA is a huge American corporation, and you have a channel that's dedicated to covering one of the teams in that league, albeit the Canadian team. You know, sometimes I have to work through that with myself and my ethics on that. And I'm like, well, why? Well, this wasn't a problem a couple years ago. This just more developed with the elbows up movement against the tariffs and Donald Trump's overtures against Canada. You know, that changes things. And in some ways you got to adjust. And you know, if I have to pivot to being more of a Scarborough Shooting Stars fan and going to more CBL games because of that, so be it. But I don't want that world to happen. You know, I don't want that to happen. You know, you want to have basketball Jones. You have Jones in for basketball. You want to watch basketball. You want to play basketball. You want to go, you know, you love basketball. You want to watch basketball. And well, we're going to figure it out one way or another, right? We're going to figure it out. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's too heavy what I was just talking about. But these are some of the thoughts that go through my head sometimes. What if the Raptors were in the CBL all of a sudden? That would be crazy. They don't have a Toronto team, and they just start playing the Honey Badgers and these other teams. And I don't know, it'd probably be a major shakeup too, as far as like the players that are playing for our team. Who knows? Maybe some of the Canadian guys in the league would come back to Canada to play in the CBL if there is some sort of weird stuff going on. You know, RJ stays on the Raptors. He does, and you know, I don't know. I don't know how it would work, man. I don't want that world to happen. It's just that you make contingency plans and you think about everything that's possible, right? That's all. You know, I don't want that to ever happen. No. All right, y'all, let me wrap it up. We're at an hour and 43, and we did the classic card. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. We did classic Jurassic. Well, it wasn't classic Jurassic. It was just Raptor-Freak Tuesday trivia on St. Patrick's Day connections to the Raptors. We went over the jersey numbers from St. Patrick's Day jerseys and also talked about shared Raptor Celtics also in the trivia. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah. And the Raptors 905 are playing at 5 p.m. today on YouTube. If you want to go to the game is actually here in town too. If you want to go to Mississauga and sit at courtside or in the crowd, it's fantastic. The referees will be Ken Jones, crew chief, number 40, Josh Reed, referee, number 28, and Claire Simmons, umpire, number 14. Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic game. Motor City Cruise. Let me see what their record is looking like right now. I'm not totally sure. I think we've played them in the tip-off tournament, the Winners Showcase, and we beat them both times we played them. So yeah, they got Bobby Clinton and a couple other pretty decent players. So they're a tough team. We just got to come out and play them the way that Andrew Jones has been getting the Raptors 905 to play. So yeah, we should be all right. And that's it. I don't see anything interesting on ESPN. There usually isn't something interesting on ESPN. Yeah. All right. Fan Day looked like a huge success. It looked like a lot of fun. Grady won the Simon Says competition. Emmanuel quickly won the teammate of the team, teammate of the team. It looked like a lot of fun. The guys looked like they were having a goofy time. They had a skills competition where they dribbled around and threw the ball through the thing. And, the fans were very interactive. They did Simon Says. That guy Simon Says came, and they had the fans doing it and the Raptors. And as I said, Grady won Simon Says. And they also had like the Super Dogs there. The Super Dogs were running their course up and down. Yeah, it seemed like it was a really, really good event, the Fan Day yesterday. So salute to that. And yeah, RJ, great interview after the game. Once again, professing your connection to the Toronto Raptors franchise as a child and talking about your favorite Raptors from back then, some of your obscure favorite Raptors and Sonny Weems and Amir Johnson. Just good stuff, man. Good stuff. RJ's a real one. If you ever doubted his Raptor fandom, well, he's a Sonny Weems fan. So, that's enough for you to know right there. That's right. W Stream, thank you, Fiercely. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow for the preview of the game against Chicago, the first game of our road trip coming up. And, this is a very winnable game. This is one of the games that we need to get for a W, especially if the Magic lose tonight to the Thunder. We could get some distance and get back in the 5th spot in the playoffs, which is where we were like a week or so ago. And now we need to jump back into it. And winning will get you there. It'll take it one game at a time, Chicago first, and then we can worry about teams like Denver after that. So yeah, one game at a time. That's what Darko's saying. And Darko this is the one thing I want to add real quick at the end. Darko had a quote of the day yesterday in his interview. He's hilarious, man. First of all, this one interviewer was asking a really negative question. She was like, "What's going to happen when you guys fall out of the playoffs?" And it's like, "What the fuck? Who the fuck are you?" I think it was Chelsea Lighty or whatever her name is. You dumbass. You're asking Darko about falling out of the playoffs in the play-in. Like, what's going to happen when you fall out? And first of all, he's like, "Look, first of all, we don't listen to the outside noise. We don't listen to the outside noise at all. I take suggestions from people about what I can do to help the team better, but I take them personally to my face or on the phone. And if you don't have my phone number, I don't give a shit what you think about what I should do." That's basically what Darko said. He said, if you don't have my phone number, I don't care what you have to say, is basically what he said. Ooh-wee, that was such a G move when he said that. And I was like, yeah, tell them. Because, look, we can be nice. We can be civil with the media. And Russell Westbrook going off on them the other day was fantastic. And Fred talked about it on Guarded podcast about, this is the thing. And Fred's like that with the press too. We know he can be very open. Him and Kyle Lowry. Look, they're no shit. They're no shit taken. And Emmanuel, I've seen it in his interviews. If somebody asks a really weird, stupid, a negative question, Emmanuel will turn it around on them and give them sunshine and make them kind of shamed for thinking in their mindset like that. Like this happened to us when we were going to the game on Sunday. We're in the elevator to go to the Scotiabank Arena from the parking lot. And I forget what it was exactly. I was asking Adriana where she wanted to eat. And it's like, let's go get something to eat somewhere fast and easy. And this lady in the elevator, she don't know us. She starts laughing. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Why are you laughing? She's like, there's nothing easy and fast downtown. I'm like, I don't know you. Shut the fuck up. I did say that to that lady straight to her face in the elevator. And it's like, first of all, I don't have the same attitude as you as in life. You want to make everything difficult and you think it's difficult to find a place to eat downtown. Well, that's your own mindset. And I don't come from that direction when I'm thinking in my life. And don't project that shit on us in the elevator, right? You don't know us. Why are you eavesdropping and talking and interjecting you into your discussion with us on this elevator? I just asked the lovely Adriana, the trivia commissioner of the Raptorsfreak channel, where would you like to go eat? And I said, well, maybe we should go somewhere nice and easy. And she laughed at me like that wasn't an excuse. Listen, bitch, I've lived downtown. I know there are good places you can go eat. And you are fine, and you can get in and out and fine. She's like, oh, there's no place that's easy. Well, that's a limiting mindset, isn't it? Yeah. So I told that lady off in the elevator, and Adriana laughed. She just knows that's Lex. It's going to happen sometimes. I'm outspoken. I have no filter. And if this lady's going to be interjecting herself into my business in an elevator, in a parking garage, well, she can hear my opinion right back since she wants to be a part of our conversation. Yeah, yeah, that's how it went right there. I was like, no, no, that's the bad mindset. That's defeatist mindset. There's nothing easy and fast downtown. I'm like, don't project your bullshit on us. That's in your mind. I know where all the spots are downtown. In fact, that's what I told Alessandro, photographer Sandro said, man, give me some questions and I'll give you good answers about places to eat and fun stuff to do in Toronto as the weather gets warmer in the spring around the city. Yeah. Alessandro is kind of like, yeah, yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah. Yeah. IQ's media sharpness is elite. Yeah. He's on point and he's not about anything but positive abundance mindset. Any Debbie Downers, anybody talking him down, anybody saying you've been playing horrible. I don't really think I've been playing horrible. I'm just not making my shots, but I'm playing the way I'm supposed to, and I'm gonna make them eventually. And you're totally off point for saying that. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff when he answers like that. And that kind of energy comes from Darko also in interviews. RJ can be like that too. You know, Grange can ask RJ kind of a messed up question. He's like not having it. He's like, no, man. No, it's not like that. Scotty, a little bit himself too. Yeah. Trevor said, I do the same thing to nosy people. Yeah, she's so nosy. I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, I'm just trying to get organized with Adriana about she didn't eat. She wanted to eat something. And I'm just trying to ask her where she wants to go. And this lady wanted to be a part of it for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why. Yeah, it was funny though. It was kind of like a Larry David moment. You can ask Isaac. All right, y'all. I love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Chicago Bulls preview. I'll have the latest lineup news and the ref report, everything to set us up for another game of the Raptors. I'm looking forward to it in some ways because we're on this roll. And it's such a joy and a privilege and a blessing to be able to watch Raptors basketball. I don't take it for granted. And in some ways, we should all be very thankful and grateful for the things we have because they're not for granted. And we need to protect them. And that means standing up for what we believe in this world as a lot of messed up people try and make this world a whole kind of other place that isn't right. Trust me. All right. I love you guys. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'm so happy to see Seymour back, man. I've been so worried about Seymour, man. And I'm just glad that he's okay. All right. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go 905. Let's beat the Motor City Cruise tonight at Paramount Fried Food Center. Yeah. I love you guys. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go Raptors.